we should now be live. Good evening, everybody. For the few of you that are here, I know we don't have a particularly full house today. Not too great, Brenton. I didn't have a very good night, and yeah, today woken up in a bit of a bad place, but I thought I would do the stream regardless, since we're just going to be carrying on with doing some enrichment building and just hanging out. So yeah, this is what we built last time, obviously. The nice terraced planter, the thermal pad for keeping our dinosaurs nice and warm, the carnivore enrichment, couple of planters, etc. But today I wanted to carry on and build a few more enrichment things, and I'm going to start with the I think I have it up here. Yes, the crab slash clam slash like aquatic animal enrichment item. And I think the best thing to use for this is probably going to be a swimming pool. If they're big enough, of course. If they're not big enough, I have an alternative idea. Well, they are rather small, aren't they? Well, actually... Okay. No, that's not going to be deep enough either. How can we do it? Because one of the problems I have is that this is not particularly deep water. And I kind of wanted it deeper than that. For the illusion, as it were. What if we made use of environmental water at the same time? So... what if we built something into this? Ugh. Size of rocks. See, but I still want it to look like enrichment rather than... So... let's put a floor down. We need stone. I think stone. Okay, where's the water level? Okay, so if I put stone... This might be a bit of a sort of let's try something and see if it works, and if not, we'll switch to another plan. So instead of waking up in bed, you woke up on a bus stop. No, no. Just had a woke up in a bad mood. That was all. The problem with relying on environmental water is environmental water is kind of a pain in the backside to use. So I think I would like to find a way of doing it without that. It's the depth is the problem. I want something that's deep. I feel like this isn't necessarily... If you sink that into the ground... Oh, that would be very tricky to do though. It's not really big enough. Yeah. Okay, so... Hello, Joshua. I think we are going to be restricted to making something that can work with the environmental. We just need to figure out the best way of well, getting it to look nice, I suppose. Quite like the idea of using the Zen stuff instead of the stone. Although stone does look more realistic, so we'll do a stone, and we'll go 1, 3, and then we give ourselves. Okay, now if we wanted to remove water, we could. It does give us some. Does give us something we can work with. Hello, Chad. Yes, I'm trying to figure out how to do it at the moment. Just sort of experimenting, really. I want something that's... I need a surrounding for this. The biggest sand we have. It's annoying. But how are you going to make the crabs? I haven't thought that far ahead yet, if I'm brutally honest. My problem with relying on the environmental water is it's just going to be too annoying to use. I think what I'm going to have to do is... This is going to have to be like an above ground level thing. And we're just going to have to create like a ramp up to it for the animals. So let's start with rocks. Let's go... I want a relatively large flat rock. That's not quite flat enough. I think that one is as flat as we can get away with. We're just going to create like a... pond-shaped area, really. Now, I suppose I need to figure out how big it needs to be. If we were going to have... Typical, I haven't unlocked the Baryonyx statue yet, or the Spinosaurus statue. But a Carno is not that much different in size to a Barry, and Carno would fit in that gap. And, yeah, maybe something the size of a Spino. Maybe we'll just, make this a little longer. And a bit wider. Just a little bit. Just want to fill in some of these gaps. There we go. Then I want to create a sort of barrier between... So I want the animals to be able to walk up and down into it. So we need to create a ramp, really. Can we have something that's not gridded, please? I reckon... Oops. Duplicate. Maybe wood is not the right material, actually. I think we probably want to use concrete or asphalt, something like that. Plaster would work. We use plaster. Do we have a... We have a non-gridded version of that. You... gonna try to put this not that high, I think. Yeah, actually about that height, I think. About that height and about there. Actually, do we have like big soil? We don't, do we? We only have stone and grass. Maybe we should make it stone. Then it would match the inside, wouldn't it? Sorry, I keep changing my mind on what I want the material to be. Okay. And then to make this easy, I'm going to duplicate that, and we're going to shift that forwards, and we're going to angle it down probably by 15. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So duplicate, angle it down by about 15. There we go. We'll put in a few more rocks to cover up the edges. That's perfect. That is a perfect rock. Oh, God. They've done this new thing on the modular building menu where it automatically changes your thing based on where your mouse is, and I find it really annoying. There we go. We are going to put a little bit of trim in here. Wood, please. Wood, please. It's in the props. Oh, hello, Evo. We are starting with attempting to create a crab slash, I guess, water plant slash clam mussel feeder thing. Basically, something for piscivores. Something with water for piscivores. But maybe, I suppose you could always say it's for herbivores too. Okay, So that gives us our ramp in and everything. Now we need the water. Now, yeah, we aren't going to be able to have this water particularly deep, which is a shame. But I just don't see any better way of doing it, and I don't want to rely on the environmental water because the environmental water is just a pain in the ass to use. So it's going to have to be a fairly shallow sort of affair. Even if we make it bigger, that doesn't really make the depth any bigger, which is a shame. I do wish we had some control over that. I feel like we are desperately missing some things that we can do in regards to water in this game. Like, if we could just have like a piece like this, but just have less gravel, that would be a big help. So I really don't want to have to rely on placeable water, on the environmental water. That's kind of why I was looking at using the swimming pool thing, that the modular swimming pool pieces that Evo was showing off in her workshop video for this week. But I was kind of put off by the fact that you have to rely on the environmental water that the game has, and the water tool is just not reliable, I think. So I would rather rely on... placed water, which actually has the ability to be where you want it to be. I mean, it's not too bad. A few gaps that needed filling up there. I mean, I would almost be tempted to say, could we find some way of putting one of the deeper elements in here? So that is quite a deep... Let's try something. We made a gap. Grab this. Put this down. That's gonna be the problem. Rather, the water height is completely atypical. Yeah. Oh, bugger. Oh well. It'll just have to be like this. I don't see any other way of doing it. Hopefully, eventually, Frontier might trust us with placeable deep water. Or, more likely is the case, a modder will come along and find a way of giving us a water piece like we had to rely on for the last game. Okay, I kind of want to have a little bit of... kind of want to have a little bit of a feature in the middle. Okay, now I think we need to just be very liberal with the reeds. Reeds don't feel particularly thick, if I'm honest. Those are a bit better. Okay. Mangrove trees next, I think. And we need some more of those bushes again. We have, we need some trees around the outside. Swamp cypress? I suppose swamp cypress makes sense, but I kind of want something that's a bit more bushy. Something in a slightly different color. Something in orange. I have something in between huge and very huge. I suppose that's what she said. Didn't want that there. I wanted it. Or there. Do you want there to be some water springs? Though hiding them in the rocks is going to be where can I get away with? Obviously, if you were building a map specifically for piscivores and you were just going to use placewater, you could build your own mock little pond pool thing and have it as like a unique part of the map. But I'm thinking about what if you aren't doing that. I want something with a relatively flat... It's all imagination at the end of the day, isn't it? So much of evolution, we still have to use our imaginations. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing or a good thing, it's just an unfortunate reality of the game. Do we have some big bushes? I'm sure there are some big bushes in here somewhere. I mean, I suppose you could also call this, like... something for the herbivores. You could say this is like... give them soft water vegetation or something like that. Doesn't have to be... No, we are feeding them crabs. It's all about imagination. Now, unfortunately, we can't actually change the color of the gravel in the fountain pieces, which I do think is a bit silly. But I do want to change the color of this stone if we can. No, we can't. Okay, the stone will just have to stay the stone color. Oh well. I do want the wood though to be darker. That's better. Maybe we could... Why are we aligning to... I actually think it looks better without iron. Maybe if I do want to put, I think, another one over here. Fill up some of that space. I mean, you do have to heavily use your imagination, but you get the point. We don't have anything that looks like a shell or a crab. I mean, maybe you could put some of these in and pretend they're like crab cages. I don't know. Clearly eggs. Yeah, we don't really have anything, I think, that would be a passable seashell or a passable crab. There is a crab sign for the restaurants. I don't know if it's useful in some way. Um, yeah, I don't think we'll get away with that. If it didn't have the chef's hat, then maybe, but I don't think we'll get away with it. Yeah, it's just gonna have to be that. It's imagination at the end of the day. Let's perhaps 232 objects. Let's perhaps move on to something that might actually look better. What? Oh, no. I made an error. Create group. Thank you. I'll make that as blueprint. Update. There we go. Okay. So, crab/clam Vida. Bit of a failure, I have to say. Let's do the sauropod feeder. Because I know I've been seeing a lot of different sauropod feeders around, and I suppose I feel like it's my go. Do we have the Brachy statue? I earned the Brachy statue. Right. So that gives us a height reference. So, what do I want mine to look like? Do I want it to look quite Jurassic Parky? Do I want it to look quite natural? Do we actually have any... have they called it something else? Did they call logs fallen trees or something? Broken Scots pine. I think I do want it to look... I don't mind it looking unnatural. How about the wooden... wood columns? I think they're in the trim. Yes. Okay. So how tall does that have to be? Okay. Then what do I want at the top? Something basket-esque or cage-esque. Well, it is supposed to be for sauropods, Kingu. Like, I don't know if you know much about sauropods, but they are kind of big. They are kind of tall. Like, it is the defining feature of a sauropod, is the fact that it's got a long neck. Dip lives matter. Okay, Diplodocus and other low browsing sauropods, okay, true. But when I'm talking about sauropod feeder, I mean high browsing sauropod feeder. I want to put a roof over this. Now, I do think it needs to have quite a thick base. Because otherwise that's liable... It looks like it's just going to fall over. I think we might need a bracket that's a little bit more substantial looking. Yes, I know my precious Amarga won't be able to reach it, but by the time we have Amargasaurus, because I have a vague suspicion that some of the animals we most want returned are not going to return first. I have a vague suspicion that it's going to be quite a while before we get anything like Amarga back. That might just be me being pessimistic, but not being funny, but if I was Frontier, Amargasaurus would have literally been the first animal back. Not Kentrosaurus, because, let's be blunt, no fucker likes Kentrosaurus. Kentrosaurus is boring. We've got so many animals that already like it. What do we wanted with the different ones? That being said, if I were Frontier, I would be bringing back all of the DLC animals. I would have been bringing back all of the Evolution 2 animals, not just the base game ones. But alas, that's probably why I'm not in charge of a video game company. Just too nice. Yeah, we got both variants, but I mean, I suppose for fans of Camp Cretaceous, it's even more galling. That we got Camp Cretaceous Kentro, but Monolopho won't be returning for free, will it? And, I'm sure we'll have to pay for Tarbo and everything again if we want it. Right. So we can cover up the girdering with some convenient planting. Let's... Ugh. Let's twist this around. Kind of want to... Okay. Then the roof. Now, I suppose the go-to option for roof is the thatch, I guess. If we didn't want to use thatch, what else could we use? I thought that. So difficult to tell. Maybe it's probably going to be better to rely on those. I think that looks relatively in the center. Yeah. Ugh. Why does it do that? Incidentally, it should be, I was not going to stream this. Or rather, I was getting disgruntled with my Evolution 3 review, and I thought, screw it, I'll just do it live. I'll just do it in a stream. But I decided last minute that I would force myself to get the review done as a video. And to be honest, the review video is actually almost finished. It won't be out until next Wednesday anyway, because I'm dropping back down to 2 videos a week, 1 video a week, because doing 2 was just burning me out, and I think it's safe to say Evolution 3 has worn off its honeymoon period for me by quite some margin. What can I do about those gaps? Not very much, so I will expand the size by a little. Going to make sure we put a greenery roof on. But yeah, the review will be pretty much finished. In fact, I might push it and finish it tonight or tomorrow morning. I suspect I'm going to get some colourful messaging for some things I say. And I suspect people will accuse me of being too harsh, but it's just the way things go. For God's sake. I want it 0.9. 0.9 was too small. Can I have it somewhere in between 1 and 1.1, please? So I can have it fit one side, but not fit the other side. Honestly, these curved pieces, I feel like they haven't got the radius of them correct. Never in quite the right spot. Frustration. Sorry, that was me yawning. See what I mean? These pieces do not line up properly with something else that's circular. I have this problem on the on my din buildings sometimes. That the banisters don't fit correctly. Okay, that's better. Now can I put some of the thatch on? Do we have a circular... Thinking we'll have more than one of these beady cubes. Maybe if we have one at a slightly lower level as well, because, you know, not every sauropod is stupidly tall, as has been pointed out to me. We have an Apatosaurus statue, don't we? We do, and that's in line with the Apato, so that would also work. Not gonna lie, I haven't seen that many good builds on the workshop in quite some time. I mean, I've kind of been looking here and there. I think the workshop needs a few improvements just to make it work better. Like, it would be nice, for example, if the trending page actually changed every week, like it's supposed to. I assume it's supposed to. Or rather, I assume it's not, because those ones that are still on the trending page are still trending. But I think what the workshop actually needs is something more akin to a random feature, like just puts up a page of random suggestions for you. Because I think at the moment what's happening is, like, the trending page is showing the same things all the time because everyone sees the trending page and gets them, and it hasn't gotten rid of them yet. So I think something like a randomization, or just here's some miscellaneous options that we've grabbed from the workshop for you that you might like, just to give some of the other creators the opportunity to have their stuff shown as well. In my opinion, some builds on the trending aren't that good. You know, I don't want to be accusing, because I have, you know, I saw it happen, or I've seen it happen last week. I'm not going to name anybody's names, but I did see a content creator, a fairly big content creator, going through on the workshop, grabbing workshop creations that they personally thought were bad and taking the piss out of them in a very condescending way on their YouTube video. And I don't think that's acceptable. Like, even though, you know, some designs are clearly better than others, you shouldn't condescend people's attempts for a YouTube video. It's just kind of sad, really, to do that. Like, you can't create your own interesting content. Instead, you're stealing people's stuff off the work, or taking people's stuff off the workshop and using it for your own content, which you will gain money from. I just think it's kind of duplicitous, really, but like I say, I'm not going to be naming names, and I'm not going to be, you know, engaging more with it. I'm just saying I think it's unfortunate. But I do think this is one of the problems of the workshop, that it is breeding a sort of classism inside the player base, and I don't think that's very good. I think that's a decent mix of vegetation. One of the problems I've seen with some people's sauropod feeders I've seen on the workshop is the vegetation's all green, so adding something that's a little differently coloured to it definitely helps improve it slightly. That might be a bit excessive. Let's just put a bush on the top, shall we? Maybe not. Let's actually do it properly. To find the right kind of do we have that's not too... Okay. How long did it take you to get the other statues? So far, both the chaos theories I've done, apart from the photography one, because the photography one is not really like the other challenge modes. Sorry, challenge modes, not chaos theories. The two challenge modes I've done that were basically build a park, I've completed them both in an hour. So it's on easy. So it's about an hour to do them on easy. But that's like... That's really going for it. That's deliberately being as quick as possible, building in the ugliest way possible. If you wanted to take your time, probably a couple of hours. Put slim tree in it, that way it can fit inside the pole and the leaves stick out to make it a bit more natural. Slim tree? As in... You've made me a crab feeder. This where Evo has just like completely defeated my own terrible attempt. She's put a pic in the disc. Let me have a look. I love every subtle way of hiding the chef's hat on the side. Very good, very good. I don't know what slim tree you were referring to, Giga. You said put a slim tree, but I'm like, what slim tree do you mean? Do you mean, is there a specific one called slim tree, or do you mean the slim trees? And if you mean the slim trees, what the slim trees do you refer to? It was one of the tropical ones. That's not very helpful. I mean, something like that would kind of work. But then it also just looks kind of weird. And the problem with these bare ones is I think they look a bit too bare. Like, they kind of look a bit ugly, if I'm honest. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with having exposed... Oh god. Evo's gonna have a field day with this when I say it. I don't think there's anything wrong with having exposed wood. But I am going to put some ivy on it. There she is. I knew it. I knew it. Oh, hello, Devin. Can someone tell me if they have also gotten this bug where the megalodon babies get stuck in the nest for like 5 minutes into... No. I have had some problems with the babies. Namely, I have never seen... In the entirety I've been playing this game, I've not seen any of their social animations with the adults. Not one. At all. Ever. Like, in all of the time I've had baby dinosaurs in the parks, and we've happened to be looking at them, or anything like that, I have not seen any of their social animations with the adults. Ever. I've seen them run around with each other. I've seen them fail to have animations, but I've never actually seen the animation loops. Like, I know I criticized Jurassic World Evolution 2 for having the same animation play too often, but I feel like now Frontier is doing this just to spite me. I'm like, I do kind of want to see some animation, you know. I don't want to see the same one over and over again, but for God's sake, I do actually want to see at least one of them. What's happened there? Oh, did I forget to duplicate? I keep doing that. I keep forgetting to press the duplicate function before advanced move. actually don't think that's too bad, really. I'm still not fond of these guys. So maybe I'll just be simple about it. Just put lots of flowers on top. You know what I would put on top if we had it? I would put a flag on top. But we don't have any flags. Like, the closest thing we have is this thing, and it's not really a flag. You've got the crab sign. I'm not putting a crab sign on top of my sauropod tool feeder. It's okay. But I'm not happy with it, but I think it's going to be one of those things I rebuild off stream, because I think I want to have another go at that, but that's not a bad prototype, I think. But it's definitely something I want to change the basket shape, I think. I want to have it more like a circular basket, I think. So yeah, that one might be another go. The problem with the banners is that they're too small. Was I the only one who didn't know you could add extra rocks on the side of mountains by using a foliage brush? Yes, Professor, you were. Sorry. You found it by accident. I mean, it's funny you should say it, because I think the I've been a bit disappointed with the rock brush in that I feel like it doesn't work quite as well as they showed us it working in the trailer. Not trailer. It was that video, wasn't it, about the... It was the one they sent us in the email. What shall we have a go at next? Okay, we're gonna try and make something for the lagoon. But I suppose before we do that, we need to have a lagoon. I'm gonna make this really large to make it easier to work the camera. Here's my thinking. I want to try to make a sort of hanging chum ball kind of arrangement that hangs in the water. So the first step is we need to design something on the surface. It needs to look like it floats. It needs to be something that floats naturally. So I think we're going to have to build it from wood. And why you do this? Okay. I got... That's peculiar. I want the gap in the middle to stay, because obviously that's where the chumble will go up and down, okay? So I do want something around the edge. Why are those... Do we have, again, scale. I'm trying to figure out scale. Okay, this is Attenborough, right? Yes. Where is Blake? Okay, that's probably a better size reference to go with. Okay. So actually that's a decent size, actually. Now here's the thing. How do we make it look like it's got flotation things on it? Tires, maybe? Tires float, after all. goodness sake. Oh, you put a museum on the workshop. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid looking at like very specific builds at the moment. I've been focusing on looking at people's versions of like hotels and bathrooms and that sort of thing for the videos I'm doing on them. Just because I think too often people kind of go for the big stuff without giving people who make smaller stuff a look in. So I've been focusing on unspecific things. That's annoying. This is why I do so many things that are actually just squares, because none of the circle pieces fit correctly together, and it really annoys me. Do we have something that could feasibly look like a boy? These kind of do, but they're also lanterns, so they would light up in the dark. Yeah, I suppose drums are also floatable. Or float. Drums also float. Floatable. Just want something to fill in the gap. The yellow top of the portable outhouse works great for flotation. Just tip them inward to show the top. We will try this in a second. deep does this need to... Can I go into the... Thank you. I'll just paint these black and no one will be the wiser. Okie dokie, so just witching says the yellow top of the portable outhouse. Got that thing. I'm not so sure about that. Mostly because I'd have to use so many. And I don't think I could hide it either. Like, even if I put them on the side. Like, even at their smallest, can't really hide it very well. Does work. It does work nicely as something like that, but it's just not the right... But maybe we can find something that would do something similar, just easier to hide. Maybe the piping? But we can't change the color of the pipes. What if you use like a primitive... How small... That's as small as you'll let me have it? That's still enormous. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. I'm thinking we're probably going to have to combine some elements. To make something that looks like buoy or flotation device. This is where I go online and look for a picture of a flotation device. Okay, perhaps the wrong name for it? I know what I kind of want it to look like, but I don't know how I would make it. I was thinking something like the Subnautica life pod, where you have that inflatable orange cushion around the base, but I don't know what you could use to make that. Okay, hang on. What if we started with that? And then... It doesn't really look like a bag, does it? It looks like concrete. You've heard the word Subnautica and now you're interested. It needs to look like rubber. How small can we... Not small enough is the answer. How big can we... Okay, what if we combined two of these together? How could we make it look like... I'm cooking. I'm thinking we need something to make it look like they're attached together. So, something like that. Ah. I think we have something here. Not exactly what I want, but it's acceptable enough, I think is the term I would use. Okay, we need an inner trim. Oh. Hello, Nighthyler. How are you doing today? Ah! I'm happy enough with that. Of course, Nightliner. Always nice to have people popping in. And I know that the building is not everyone's cup of tea, so, you know. So, the next thing I should probably work on is the chum. And I actually already have an idea for this. And actually, it's something I'm going to replace on my carnivore feeder as well. How wide? I think that's an acceptable width. I know at the moment this doesn't look very meaty, but something I didn't particularly like about the one I made for my feeder, the meat enrichment feeder, was it didn't quite have the right texture. If I go and build one. Here it is. So, obviously it didn't have the right texture, which is the bit that Incan, made me didn't think that it was very good. But this plaster has the right sort of texture of meat to it. So, what I'm thinking of doing is kind of trying, if the camera would work, to kind of get these plaster cubes to work as a meaty alternative. But I suspect that it's not going to be as good as I thought it might be. I think I'm going to have to more carefully place these around. Okay. I think I'm on the right way. but I think I need to be a bit more careful with the placing. And I have to place these all by hand. And then probably think about which bits I want to have bitten into and replace them as we go. That's the plan, anyway. Okay, so there's our meaty ring. so many horrible words. Let's duplicate this to get something thicker. And now I want to try to put some bite marks into this. So if we delete those, and if we go again, are these? So that's where one cube. And I'm thinking the difficulty is in trying to make it look natural. as it is with a lot of stuff about evolution games. It's the difficulty in making it look like it isn't what it is, which is some plaster cubes. I think to get this looking how I want it to look, it's going to have to be square. Like, in order to make it look good, it's got to be square. There is our meaty square. Now, if that was a bite mark on the top, ah, this is not going as easy as I thought it was. When I first saw these pieces, I was like, these could make good meaty chunks, and now I'm like, it's actually really difficult. I think to make an effective looking bite mark, I have to combine two together. And then you have a bite mark, you see. Maybe that's what I need to do. Okay. Maybe it's all about just getting the placing. Yeah, I'm The problem with unevenness is unevenness also doesn't look natural. That's definitely more like it. Let's get rid of one there, and we'll just have like an uneven chunk here. Because this is not going to be like the final stage of the process. There's going to be more to it. Just getting the rough shape correct is kind of the first stage. Getting that. Actually, what if we just... See, the problem with this is the straight sides. Maybe this looks... It's difficult to know what's going to be the better way of doing this, but we'll carry on. Looks like a meat house. I just wanted to try to create something that looks more meat textured. Because I think that's a problem I have in my carnivore feeder, is that it just doesn't look meaty texture. This has the right texture. And I think once I do the rest of the edits to it, I think it'll look better. I'm thinking we definitely need to do another one over here. I'm just wondering where. Maybe... maybe get rid of that one. I've just realized these are not perfect squares, are they? They're actually rectangular. That's why I'm having so much trouble getting to fit together correctly. Right. I think that's a decent chum. Ooh. Now we're gonna change the colors. Yep. Looks more fleshy already, doesn't it? Now we're going to do this. I want to hide. Some pieces in here. Just to give it some texture. That's going to be hard to digest. Well, trying to, you know, replicate the diet properly, you know. And it's just to try to get it looking something less like a cube of pasta. I don't mind if some of these stick out, because they'll help make this look a little less square. I mean, it does make me wonder exactly what enormous animals we are feeding our sea creatures, but we'll not think about that too much. Should I call the AZA to check if this fits their standards? We don't need to be calling anybody. You know, it's fine. I think that's a more acceptable meaty cube. I think it looks more fleshy, for want of a better term. Now we do need to think about how this is actually hanging in there. So I think I'm going to have to resort to those cage chunks. The exposed metal, probably not what we want to go for. Don't want our poor sea creatures to break their teeth. How will it hang in the water? We need something that's quite strong. Can I have it aligned that way, please? You just caught a shiny zigzagoon. Congrats? I don't know what that is. This could make for a... Don't really like the curve in it, actually. It's a bit severe. I wish we had something that looked more like chains, but we really don't. Like these are the best cables we have, and we can't even make them very thick. I don't dislike that. How far down? I think that's an acceptable depth. Now we just need to make sure it's in relatively the center, which I think that is. Oh, you pain in the backside, you. That's relatively the middle there. That's relatively the middle there. So now all I need to do we cannot create them as a group. Because they're already a group. Oh, thank God. Right. How is it supported? Maybe just, maybe just do it simply with strong cabling. No, you. I think personally we might need more than just. Why don't you rotate evenly? Looks like I've got it on local rotation. No, even global rotation doesn't fix it. What else? Maybe you'd want an anchor? Like maybe having it like that isn't a good idea. Maybe you want to make sure that it's anchored to the bottom as well. Well, no, because then you'd likely to break it. Maybe you don't want it to be anchored, or maybe you want a weight or something on the bottom. Like something quite hefty on the bottom. Cannon. Something that looks something heavy that doesn't potentially harm the animals. Clobber it. Maybe just a simple concrete weight. There's nothing wrong with a simple concrete weight sometimes. Actually, instead of these, what do they use for the awning cable? Like, that's a perfectly satisfactory cable, but like, what do they use for the middle bit? It can't just be the power cable type, can it? 'Cause that doesn't look thick enough. Oh, it is. That's the wrong size. How thick can I... Okay. I prefer that. I think that looks better. Maybe we should have something in the center, like a... Again, I would have said a flag, but we can't. We don't have anything like a flag. Even if we make that as big as possible, it's not really a flag, but... crab sign. Oh. Shall I annoy all the people that like things being symmetrical? I actually don't think that's too bad. I think what we do need to do though is oh, but of course they haven't given us Arg. They haven't given us singular pieces of kelp, have they? Of course. I am never surprised by the amount of times I can be disappointed by Frontier. How does that look on? Stupid. It looks stupid. Ah, buggerations. I need something that's like a passable seaweed. That's not too bad actually as a passable weed. What the? Why did you do it? I honestly feel like the camera in this game is worse than it ever was in Evolution 1 or 2. It really doesn't like behaving. How does that look from above? Hmm. Gonna have to make it a little bit lower so it doesn't appear above the level of the... I pressed duplicate. Confirm. Advanced. Okay, nothing showing up above, apart from that one. That piece? Must be. I don't think that's too bad. We don't really have anything to replicate seaweed very well. Like, if they gave us a single kelp frond that was actually a singular placeable object, then maybe, but we just don't have anything that's remotely equivalent. The ivy is probably the only equivalent sort of thing we have. And it doesn't look very seaweedy, I have to say. Yeah, we don't have anything that could be a discount seed. Don't think that's too bad as a prototype. I think there's still some rough edges to it, but it's a decent first go. I think I am going to have another go when I'm not streaming, so I can spend, 20 million hours on it. But I don't think that's too bad. It gets the point across, I think. I definitely think this way of doing meaty balls is better. I think the texture just works better. I just think I need to find the best way of making it look good. But that's not a bad first go, I think. It's not really a bait ball, more of a bait cube, is it? Chum enrichment. We'll just call it chum enrichment. Yeah, I think everything I've made today, I'm going to have to probably have another go at remaking. We only managed to get 3 things done in this 3-hour block. I need to get quicker. Oh well. Not my best, I have to admit. I'm probably going to have to spend some time remaking these to get them looking as good as I want them to get, but they're not a bad first attempt. I'm not going to put these on the workshop yet. I want to make sure I can get them looking much better. To be fair, the crab sign would have sped things. I don't think so. I think being able to create what I have in my head would have sped things up, but there are just too many limitations with the modular building. So in this game, like we don't have placeable deeper water pieces, and my head's not really in it today. But I wanted to come and stream regardless, and I don't think what we made are too bad. We just Or I just need to, you know, get what I'm thinking out. Yeah, I will be back on Sunday for continuation of the Din Park. Actually, I can... before I head off, I can show you guys how that's going. Or at least how the Din Arrival building is going. So... the centerpiece is done. I got the trellis up and got everything looking nice. And the Din Arrival building is getting there. There's the ground gone messy again. Thank you. Yeah, the Arrival building is in not doing too bad. Got some nice gardens in the back here. Got a nice little open window there. Sunday, I want to try and get people's ideas for this area because I struggled the other day to work on it and get it looking good. So I want some people's help with ideas for this section, which I'll explain on Sunday. But yeah, hopefully we should be able to get some more work done on Sunday and get the park more towards putting dinosaurs in it. I need to look on the workshop and see if there's like a big concrete wall-like section. So I want a nice chunky wall here and here, like a really nice thick wall. But I'd have to see if there's pieces on the workshop. But yeah, that'll be Sunday. So I'll see you folks then. Thank you for those who did tune in to watch me struggle with the modular building, and I'll see you guys later on. But until then, stay safe, and good night.